Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Katrina, and today we will be talking about how spiritual bypassing, shadow work, and integration, how they all connect with each other and how they're related, and what each of these things are, and how discovering if you may be using spirituality as a bypass, how finding out these things about yourself can greatly improve your life in the end. And shadow work can have a profound impact upon your life and what you end up manifesting in your life. And so these to me are important things to be talked about in the spiritual community or just in general. So what is spiritual bypassing? Spiritual bypassing is when we, instead of doing emotional work to integrate all the different parts of ourselves, it's when instead of facing that negativity or that situation or those emotions that are coming up for you that may be negative, spiritual bypassing is when you feel that negativity and you run from it and you do not give your emotions and your thoughts that may be negative attention, because there's a fear around that. And so because of this fear, it causes you to run away from these problems and kind of do it in the name of, oh, I want to stay positive, or, oh, but I have so much stuff to be grateful for, I shouldn't be feeling these things, and kind of, fragmenting yourself in a way where the parts of you that are positive and happy are acceptable, but anything negative that comes up you deem as not spiritual, not good, and so you end up suppressing those things. And what happens when we do this is that the things that we are suppressing get pushed down either in the form of energy and get stuck in our body, or thoughts become subconscious. And I don't think people realize that when you suppress things, they don't just go away. Thoughts, emotions, events that trigger traumas, those all have an energy, and that's getting stored inside your body when you don't let those things flow through you to be felt and to be seen and to be accepted by you. And so when you don't accept these parts of yourself, they become a fragment that has not been addressed. And then the problem with this is that when we have all these negative things in our subconscious, or all of this energy stuck inside of our body that we're not looking at, this has an effect on the decisions you make every day. And you're probably not going to realize it because it's in your subconscious. And on top of that, a lot of heavy emotions stored inside your body can lead to disease and illness. And another important thing to think about with bypassing these negative emotions, such as shame, guilt, not feeling worthy, these kind of things, when we suppress that, we in a way are not loving ourselves, because like I said, we're deeming those parts of ourselves as unacceptable. And when we do this, we can't be and show up as genuine and authentic, because there's this shadow of ourselves that we're neglecting that is also you. And a lot of times this is our inner child. It's that part of ourselves that has been hurt many times and that needs to be healed and integrated, so that we can grow as people. And that's another thing, when we run away from things that are hard in life or emotions that are hard to feel, what we're doing is we're really not giving ourselves a chance to grow. Because through my own experience and through a lot of other people's experience, one of the fastest ways to grow, funny enough, is through suffering and through confronting heavy things, you know? Like, personally for me, one of the things that I was forced to look at this year was just not feeling worthy and how that was showing up in my life. And that's the thing, when we harbor these emotions, and whatever's in your subconscious is going to be reflected back to you by the world, because that's how the world works. We're all here to grow and to evolve, and so what happens is hard situations come up so that you can see what it is that you are avoiding and where it is you need to grow. So for example, with me, I've had a lot of issues and struggles around relationships, and it's like, no matter who the person was, as long as there was that feeling of not being worthy inside of me, that was being reflected by the partners that I had. And I went through a couple cycles of this until I finally realized that I had not fully integrated and fully loved parts of myself. And hopefully, you know, once we do this work, then we're able to attract better things into our lives. For me, better relationships, where when you feel worthy and you feel confident and accepting of yourself, then you're going to manifest people who feel that way about you. And anyone who does not value you and anyone who does not show you, you know, how special you are and just lift you up, you're not going to be on the same like wavelength as those people anymore, and odds are you're not going to want to be around them because you've learned to love yourself. So why do we as humans bypass our negative emotions and run away from things that feel uncomfortable? Well, at the base of that, it's kind of a survival instinct, you know? In the past, anything that caused negative emotion, you know, it could have been an animal running after you, so you needed to run away from that because it was a threat. But, you know, we've evolved past this, so it really is a program that we receive growing up, being told not to express ourselves and to express our truth, or being told not to feel the way that we feel. And, you know, I don't think parents, and I don't think all parents have the worst intention, you know, of causing these problems for their kids in the future. But the problem is, a lot of parents are also doing the same thing, where they're running away from a lot of aspects of themselves and from their past. And, you know, there's lots of different kinds of bypassing. You know, there's spiritual bypassing, where someone wants to appear as spiritual, and so they have this kind of facade when there's still a lot of darkness that needs to be worked on underneath of that. And this isn't a judgment to these people, because we all do this in different types of ways, you know. Or there's bypassing with addiction, where anytime you feel something negative, you drink or you do drugs. Or for me, I used to comfort myself with food a lot. And actually what's happened since I've been eating a lot healthier now is that I think a lot of the emotions that were being suppressed when I would eat all this junk food to make myself feel better, I feel like a lot of that stuff is coming up right now for me to deal with. And so, it's kind of exhausting, but to me it's so worth it because, I've come to a place where it's been made so obvious to me that I need to be on my own team and I need to love myself fully. And I also just want to be genuine. So it's important to me to feel all these things, as uncomfortable as they are, so that I can be the best version of myself, so that I can have the most positive effect on other people and on myself, because we all want to live happy and fulfilling lives, and we can't do that until we really know ourselves and we know all the parts of ourselves and we let ourselves show up as we are without judgment. And then we can really learn about ourselves, and in the learning about ourselves, we find what we really love, we find what we're passionate about, and then that leads to growth for ourselves and for other people. So, shadow work. You might ask what shadow work is, because, spiritual bypassing and shadow work go hand in hand. Shadow work is just the process of integrating these different parts of ourselves, the negative emotions, and the shadow. It's actually, like, if you want to research more about it, it's kind of an idea that Carl Jung originally wrote about, and I'm sure people before him might have contributed to these ideas as well, but I don't know those people's names. So shadow work is basically bringing the things that are unconscious into the light so that we can release these things. So what this looks like for me is just like kind of what I just said. It's feeling difficult emotions but not attaching to them and not making them my identity. Because we could get caught in the trap of feeling the negative emotions and being like, oh, there's something wrong with me. I'm depressed. I'm this, I'm that. And no, it's normal to feel these things. We need to normalize feeling our emotions so that they don't become trapped inside of us and affect our health and affect, the things that we're attracting into our lives. And so shadow work is just integrating all the different parts of yourself, loving the darkest parts of yourself, and bringing them to the light. And a lot of times it's like you're going to be forced to do this work because, like I said, you're going to attract situations and people and things into your life that are going to trigger the darker parts of you. And so you're going to see that shit. And when you see that shit, don't run away from it. Don't suppress it with alcohol, drugs, food, spirituality. Don't suppress it at all. Just sit there and feel the emotions. It's really simple, but like I said, we're programmed to not want to feel these things because it's scary, and it takes a lot of courage to be able to express yourself authentically and to allow yourself to display emotions that aren't comfortable and still love yourself anyways, and not take it as, oh, like, I have so much to do today, I can't be sitting here feeling bad for myself or feeling negative because, like, I need to be perfect all the time, I need to be productive all the time. Like, literally, that's the definition of bypassing. So don't do that. Let yourself rest if you need time to rest. And honestly, for me, this is funny, but the shower, like any kind of water, it feels very like refreshing and healing to me. So when I have a day where I feel something coming up, like just grief or guilt or any of these negative things, when I feel it coming up, I'll go take a shower and I'll just sit in the shower, and if I need to cry, I'll sit there and I just let it out until I don't feel like there's anything left for me to feel in that moment. And then like most of the time I feel so much better after I do this, because our bodies don't want to hold in these negative frequencies. Like it doesn't feel good to feel like shit, but if you don't feel it, it's gonna keep being perpetuated over and over and over and over until you feel it. And so that's the whole point of this whole video, is just to allow yourself to just be a human and know that life has seasons, just like we have seasons in nature. There's summer, fall, winter, spring. Sometimes, you don't need to be happy all the time. And that really shouldn't be your aim, to be happy all the time. The aim should be to grow and to love yourself more and more every day. And, obviously I'm not trying to tell you guys that, oh, this is what you should aspire to do in life. This is just my opinion, I guess. And if it resonates with you, then that's great, and if it doesn't, then that's okay as well. I'm just sharing these things because if I had heard these things maybe earlier on, it's like it would have helped me a lot. So that's why I make these videos. I think we can all agree, though, that it feels a lot better to love ourselves and to accept ourselves and to commit ourselves to this inner growth than to do the opposite, which would be to run, to bypass things, to numb ourselves. And, a lot of that leads to addiction and to things that are really hard on us and that lead us to darker places. Eventually, even if it doesn't happen right away, because everything eventually gets brought to the light to be dealt with, and that's because we're here to grow on an individual scale and as a collective. And actually, in the last year, I feel like our shadow, you could call it, as a collective, and when I say collective, I mean the group of us as a society, as our world. I feel that our shadows were really brought to the surface, and a lot of people saw things that they didn't see before, and a lot of people were forced to be alone with themselves for maybe the first time in their lives, and to look at parts of themselves and parts of society and our world that have not been working for us. And it's like, in seeing these things and being forced to look at it and being forced to feel these things, I believe that it's actually going to lead us to learning a lot and growing individually and all of us together. And hopefully we can come out of all these events that have been happening stronger and more united with each other and more integrated within ourselves from spending, this time alone and reflecting. And just, reflecting on yourself is also part of shadow work. Just really asking yourself questions about why you do the things you do and what works for you and what doesn't work for you, And yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap this video up now. I appreciate all of you for watching this. Please like the video and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I appreciate everyone who's been here with me, leaving comments and all that. I love when people leave comments, and I would love if you guys put questions in the comments or just anything you might want to add to this. And yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. And I send all my love to you guys, and we're gonna get through these tough times. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, and that light is just healing and growth and becoming better than we ever were before. So, blessings. I will talk to all of you guys later. Bye.